as he said, my name is Rakia. Thank you all for coming out here. It's an honor to be here today. So let's get started. So this is Unified in Purpose. So before I talk, I want everybody to understand, if you didn't, that there's a psychological war on our people, right? We've been psychologically conditioned, self-hate and self-division. So if the war is psychological, then the revolution has to be psychological. We have to go back within self, and we have to go back within our mind. What is the definition of psychological? Pertaining to the mind as a subject of study. Matters related to the mind, mental phenomenon, and behavior. It encompasses the study of mental states, processes, and behaviors in humans. As Brother Muhammad mentioned, I feel like the Willie Lynch letter should be a mandatory read in every Black household. I actually have some over there. So with this man, Willie Lynch, this is what he says. Both the horse and the nigger must be broken. That is breaking them from one form of mental state to another. Keep the body, take the mind. It is a psychological war on our people. Now they're talking about the woman. Frozen psychological state of independence. She will raise her male and female offsprings in reverse roles. For fear of the male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. With our war right now, it is a psychological war on our people. The racism has to be subtle. They just can't go and bomb a school no more. They just can't go and bomb a village or a community of people no more. They have to instill and plant things within our mind. What they did today is planted the seed of self-hatred. Look within our community. Look within our neighborhoods. You see a people that don't love each other. Okay, so since the war is psychological, the revolution has to be psychological, we have to look at the psychology of purpose, right? And it's a tons of research about the psychology of purpose. So listen to this. Early on, Viktor Frankl and Brother touched on epigenetics. So that's another thing that I want to talk about. Psychological trauma is inherited and passed down through the DNA. They studied it with the descendants of, with the Holocaust victims, but they never really studied it with the descendants of slaves. We have 400 years, crack epidemic, Jim Crow. We have hundreds of years worth of psychological trauma running through our DNA. It's up to us to reverse it though. So this is early Viktor Frankl. He comes from the Holocaust. Recognized that purpose was central to human well-being. His experience at concentration camps further reinforced his belief that purpose was a critical component of optimal human functioning. Frankl noticed that fellow prisoners who had a sense of purpose showed greater resilience to torture, slave labor, starvation, races to which they were subject to. We have to get back to having a sense of purpose within our community. We have to get back to loving one another. We have to instill meaning into our lives. Here today, we're actually going to figure out as a community and as a collective, what is our purpose here today as Black people? I don't care your beliefs, I don't care your religion, I don't care your political views. We have to start uniting as a people, because if we don't, we're going to see the self-destruction of the Black culture. So here today, we're going to figure out collectively what is our purpose. Then from that purpose, we're going to come up with a Black code. We're going to come up with a code of ethics, because what you see within our Black community now, we don't have no code. It used to be no kids, no kids, no women. They don't even care no more. They show it when they see kids. We have no sense of self. We have no sense of purpose. We have to get back to loving ourselves. We have to get back to loving one another, because if not, we're going to see the destruction of the Black race. Purpose. I can't really see it up there, y'all. I'm sorry. Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. Franklin proposed that all people are motivated to discover a purpose for their lives. Doing so is a human nature inclination, Without purpose, he argues, feelings of meaningless and emptiness ensures. A purpose in life represents a stable and generalized intention to accomplish something that is personally meaningful, leads to productive engagement with some aspect beyond self. We have to get out of this selfish culture that we've been in and get back to a selfless culture. We have to get back to loving each other. We have to get back to reaching to the youth. We have to get back to reaching to the elders. We have to get back to protecting our women. We have to get back to being behind our men. We have to get back out of that selfishness to that selflessness. If not, again, you hear me saying this, is going to be the destruction of the black race. There is a psychological war on our people right now, and I want y'all to understand that. So the revolution has to start in the mind.
Come on now.
This definition includes at least three important components: goal orientation, personal meaningfulness, focus on aims beyond self. What is unified? Means brought together, combined, or united, often referring to people, organizations, or systems functioning as a single entity with shared goals, let's talk on that, or rules. So what is our goal in the black community? A goal or an objective is an idea of the future or desired results that a person or a group of people envision, plan, and commit to achieve. What is going to be our goal within the black community? What do we want to achieve? What do we want our youth to have, something that we can pass on to them? Do y'all understand what I'm saying right now? We've coming from a culture where we call our young men YNs. We're not calling them young leaders. We're not calling them young kings. We're not calling them young gods. We're not calling them young scholars. We walking around calling them young YNs. What you think they calling the females? You have to realize we subconsciously condition ourselves when we put this in our head. We gotta, hey young leader, hey young God, hey young king, hey young scholar. When we walk down the street, hey young, this is what we need to instill into our youth. We don't call them YNs. We have to get back to loving our youth, reaching out to the youth. No more YNs from now. Now, this is what it looks like when you have a nation not unified in purpose. Look at this homicide rate. Look at the black people compared to every other race. This is what you look like when you have a culture that's not unified in purpose. This is on a global scale that we're looking at. Look at black people up there, homicide rates on a global scale. We killing each other at astronomical rates, and these people are studying it. You can't tell me it's not a psychological war on my people. This is what it looks like when people are not unified in purpose. Black men dying at astronomical rates. If we don't have no men, we don't have protectors. We don't have providers. We have to protect our youth. This is what it looks like when we're not unified in purpose. Y'all kind of can't see this, but last year, majority of the homicides in Dayton were black youth, black male youth. What are we gonna do in our community? We can't get nothing together if we don't come together, divide and conquer. We have to come together as a people. The men need to lead. The women need to be behind them or on the side of them, whatever your beliefs are, but we have to start coming together collectively. And this is one of my favorite psychologists. To conquer a people, you must destroy the love they have for one another. What you see in our community is the psychological conditioning of self-hate. When you walk down the street and you see somebody that looks like you and you're ready to fight them, kill them, that's the psychological conditioning of self-hate. And not only are we seeing the psychological condition of self-hate, but we're starting to see the black extinction. And I actually want to go back to the Native Americans. This is the Native Americans are now only 1% of the population. This used to be their land. How are they only 1% of the population? You see this sharp decline. If you probably would have told the Native American ancestors, 200 years from now, you only be 1% of the population in America, they probably would have looked at you like you're crazy. But the thing about the black extinction is going to come from self-destruction. There's no reason why the black population is not neck to neck with the white population in America. We only make up 13% of the population. Latinos make up only 20% of the population. White people make up 40% of the population. How are we not neck to neck with them? And we've been here 400 years and some of us longer. Because we're seeing self-destruction. We've come to normalize black self-annihilation. We've come to normalize black self-genocide. It's up to us. So I call, because it seems like boycotting is a trend nowadays, I call a boycott to self-genocide. Black Genocide Awareness Week is the 3rd week of July. for Cuff Foundation, Community Unity First, where we focus on psychological and self-genocide in the Black community. I call a boycott, a truce, that whole week you can't fight, kill, shoot, nobody that looks like you. Nobody. Even if we gotta call a truce, get the OGs involved, whoever. You can't fight, kill, or shoot nobody that look like you for that whole week. And while we boycott Zeus Network, boycott these record labels, boycott these movies, I heard it's another little show out there. All they do is fight each other, women looking barbaric. We need to boycott anything that's self-genocidal and self-destructive to our community. I also want to shout out Sunlight Village because they're doing a call to action ceasefire. Shout out to my Israelite family back there. They're actually helping Sunlight Village with this. It takes a community. We have to put all our differences aside, religious beliefs, political beliefs, whatever. We all have something in common. And they divided us for so long. What is going to unify us in purpose? First, we have to get unified in purpose, then we can get unified in power. So while we're here today collectively, I wish it was more youth here. We're going to figure out our purpose as a Black people. We putting in the work today. We're going to figure out our purpose as a Black people. Then from that purpose, we're going to come up with a Black code. What is the Black code for us? What is the rules that we're going to abide by within the Black community? And we're going to put this in our families, in our households, in our communities, in our neighborhoods. I want it on some type of scribe. We're going to put churches, mosques, temples, wherever there's Black people at, we're going to have this Black code, and we're going to pass it down for generations and generations. March 15th, 2025, we came up with the Black Code, the Code of Ethics. What are we going to stand on? What are we going to be unified in? Because if we don't stop it, you're going to see an extinction of the Black race, and that's exactly what they want. It's healing season.